Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you no longer need anyone's approval. No more proving your worth. No more explaining your choices. No more chasing respect. Because true power begins the moment you stop asking the world to understand you. Most men spend their lives trying to be accepted. They speak too much, explain too much, and reveal too much. They believe that if people only knew their intentions, they would finally be respected. But history tells a different story. The strongest man in the room is rarely the loudest. He is the one whose silence makes everyone curious. Tonight, you'll follow the story of a man who discovered this truth in the hardest possible way. He wasn't born powerful. He wasn't fearless. He wasn't rich or famous. He was invisible. Ignored by friends. Overlooked at work. Misunderstood by family. Every time someone questioned him, he rushed to explain himself. Every criticism stole his peace. Every opinion changed his direction. Until one quiet evening, an old stranger looked him in the eyes and said, "People only demand explanations from those they believe they control." Those words echoed in his mind for weeks. For the first time, he asked himself a terrifying question. What if my greatest weakness isn't failure, but my constant need to be understood? That single question changed everything. From that day forward, he made one silent promise. He would stop arguing. Stop defending. Stop seeking validation. Instead, he would let discipline speak. He would let results speak. He would let silence become his language. And what happened next surprised everyone around him. The same people who ignored him started watching him. The same people who doubted him began respecting him. Not because he became louder, but because he became impossible to read. This is not a story about revenge. This is the story of mastering yourself so completely that the opinions of others lose their power over your life. So dim the lights. Take a slow breath. And step into the mind of the man who never explained himself. The first lesson of silence. The next morning felt strangely different. Nothing around him had changed. The same streets. The same people. The same routine. Yet something inside him had shifted. He remembered the old man's words again. Every unnecessary explanation is a gift of power you hand to someone else. For years, he had believed that defending himself was a sign of honesty. Now he wondered if it had simply been a habit born from fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being disliked. Fear of standing alone. That day became his first test. At work, a coworker laughed and said, "So, you're late again." Normally, he would have explained the traffic, the alarm, the endless details. Instead, he smiled politely. "I understand." Nothing more. The room became quiet. People were expecting excuses. Instead, they found calm. Something about that silence made them uncomfortable. For the first time, he realized a strange truth. Most people don't ask questions because they want answers. They ask because they want control. When you refuse to feed unnecessary conversations, their control disappears. Days turned into weeks. He spoke less, but he listened more. He noticed how people revealed themselves without realizing it. The impatient interrupted. The insecure bragged. The jealous criticized. The confident observed. Silence became a mirror. Everyone unknowingly reflected who they truly were. Meanwhile, he stopped announcing his goals. He stopped posting every achievement. He stopped seeking applause before taking action. Every morning, before the sun appeared, he woke in darkness. While the city slept, he trained. He studied. He worked. Not because anyone was watching, but because the future version of himself was waiting. Slowly, his confidence no longer came from compliments. It came from promises kept. Each small victory became another brick in an invisible fortress. No one noticed its construction. Until one day, they would all wonder where his strength had come from. But strength is never built in front of an audience. It is built in silence. One disciplined morning at a time. And this was only the beginning. The power of being unpredictable. A month passed. People began to notice something strange. He no longer reacted the way they expected. The jokes that once bothered him received only a calm smile. The criticism that once stole his sleep now disappeared into silence. The man they thought they understood was slowly becoming a mystery. And nothing attracts more attention than a person who cannot be easily read. One afternoon, an old friend asked, "What happened to you? You're different." He looked out the window for a moment before answering. Some battles are won the moment you refuse to fight them. His friend laughed. But he wasn't joking. He had discovered a lesson few people ever learn. Not every challenge deserves your energy. Some people throw words like fishermen cast nets. They hope you'll react. They hope you'll argue. They hope you'll lose your peace. Because the moment you lose control, they gain it. From that day on, he became impossible to provoke. Not because he had no emotions, but because he had learned to master them. Every insult became a test. Every misunderstanding became an opportunity to practice patience. Every difficult moment became another weight that strengthened his mind. Little by little, his confidence stopped depending on perfect days. It grew strongest during difficult ones. Then something unexpected happened. Opportunities began appearing from nowhere. People trusted him with greater responsibility. Strangers listened carefully whenever he spoke. His words carried weight. Because he no longer wasted them. He understood something powerful. When you speak all the time, your words become ordinary. But when silence becomes your habit, even a single sentence can change a room. That night, standing alone beneath the stars, he realized the greatest transformation wasn't visible. His face looked the same. His voice sounded the same. But inside, fear no longer made decisions. Approval no longer controlled his direction. He wasn't trying to impress anyone anymore. He was simply becoming the strongest version of himself. One quiet choice at a time. And deep inside, he knew the hardest lesson was still waiting ahead. The price of discipline. Power always demands a price. Most people admire discipline, but very few are willing to pay for it. As the weeks passed, his life became quieter. Some friends stopped calling. Others whispered, "He's changed." They believed he had become cold. The truth was different. He had simply stopped chasing people who were already walking away. For the first time in years, he protected his time like treasure. Every hour became an investment. Every decision had a purpose. While others spent nights scrolling through endless distractions, he was reading, learning, building, preparing for a future nobody else could see. There were nights when loneliness knocked on his door. The silence felt heavy. The easy path called his name. Skip today's work. Rest a little longer. You deserve a break. Those voices sounded comforting. But he recognized them. They were not friends. They were excuses wearing a friendly face. So he stood up. Even when motivation disappeared. Even when nobody would notice if he failed. Because he had learned a truth that changed everything. Motivation starts the journey. Discipline finishes it. Every sunrise became another promise kept. Every completed task became another victory over the weaker version of himself. Slowly, the man in the mirror looked different. Not because his appearance had changed, but because his eyes carried certainty. People often think confidence comes from praise. It doesn't. Real confidence comes from knowing you can trust yourself. When you say you'll wake up, you wake up. When you promise to improve, you improve. When you decide to keep moving, you move. That is how self-respect is built. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Day after day. Months later, the same people who once questioned his discipline started asking for his advice. The same people who laughed at his quiet routines wanted to know his secret. He simply smiled. There was no secret. Only thousands of invisible decisions made when no one was watching. And he finally understood something priceless. Your future is never created by one extraordinary moment. It is created by ordinary choices, repeated with extraordinary consistency. The journey had made him stronger. But ahead waited the lesson that would test not his discipline, but his character. Success changes many things, but the greatest test comes after you begin to win. Because discipline can build your strength, but character decides what you do with that strength. The man who once struggled in silence was now standing in a different place. People noticed his progress. They noticed his confidence. They noticed the results of the work nobody had seen. Suddenly, the same people who ignored him before started coming back. Some wanted advice. Some wanted opportunities. Some wanted to be part of his journey. And this was the moment that revealed who he truly was. Because it is easy to stay humble when nobody knows your name. It is easy to stay focused when nobody cares about your progress. But can you remain the same person When the world finally starts paying attention, that was the real challenge. The old version of him wanted revenge. He wanted to prove everyone wrong. He wanted them to regret doubting him. But the stronger version understood something deeper. The greatest revenge is not making others feel small. It is becoming someone who no longer needs their approval. So he chose silence. He chose growth. He chose peace. He stopped carrying anger from the past. Because he realized anger was only another chain. A chain that kept him connected to people he had already outgrown. The world will always test your character. Sometimes with failure. Sometimes with success. Sometimes with people who only appear when you have something to offer. But a powerful mind knows the difference between attention and respect, between popularity and loyalty, between being surrounded by people and being surrounded by the right people. He learned that not everyone deserves access to the person you worked so hard to become. Some people only love your light until it exposes their darkness. So he protected his energy, not because he hated anyone, but because he finally understood his value. The journey was never about becoming better than others. It was about becoming better than the person he used to be. Every challenge had shaped him. Every rejection had prepared him. Every lonely night had built a foundation that nobody could break. And now, a new chapter was waiting. A chapter where he would have to use everything he learned. Not to survive, but to lead. Because the final lesson was coming. The lesson that separates ordinary people from those who become truly unstoppable. The greatest transformation does not happen when the world notices you. It happens when you no longer need the world to notice you. The man who once searched for approval had finally discovered something more powerful: self-belief. He realized that the strongest person is not the one who defeats others, but the one who defeats the weakness inside himself. The fear, the doubt, the excuses, the old habits that kept him trapped for years. He had spent so much time trying to change his life that he forgot he was also changing himself. The journey was never about becoming someone different. It was about removing everything that was stopping him from becoming who he was meant to be. Now, he walked differently. Not because he thought he was better than everyone, but because he finally understood his own worth. He no longer reacted to every insult. He no longer chased every opportunity. He no longer explained his vision to people who could not understand it. Because a person with a clear purpose does not need constant validation. The world will always have opinions. Some will doubt you. Some will criticize you. Some will wait for you to fail. But their voices become meaningless when your commitment becomes stronger than their negativity. He learned that success is not a destination. It is a daily battle between who you are and who you want to become. Every morning was a decision. Every action was a vote for his future. Every sacrifice was a message to himself. I am worth the effort. Years ago, he was searching for a way out. Now, he had become the person he once needed. Someone who understood pain. Someone who understood loneliness. Someone who understood what it means to keep fighting when nobody believes in you. And that was his greatest power. Not his money. Not his achievements. Not the respect he earned. His greatest power was knowing that he could survive anything life placed in front of him. Because he had already survived himself. The weak version. The doubtful version. The version that wanted to quit. And when life tested him again, he was ready. Because discipline built his body. Knowledge built his mind. But struggle built his character. The final lesson was simple. You don't become unstoppable because life becomes easier. You become unstoppable because you become stronger. So keep working in silence. Keep improving when nobody is watching. The legacy of a warrior. Years passed, and the man who once walked alone became a symbol of strength. But he never forgot where he started. He remembered the nights when nobody believed in him. The moments when failure felt impossible to overcome. The days when giving up seemed easier than continuing. Those memories kept him humble. Because he knew the greatest victories are not created in comfort. They are created in the moments when you choose to continue despite everything telling you to stop. He no longer measured success by money. He no longer measured success by attention. He measured success by the person he had become. A person who could control his emotions. A person who could keep promises to himself. A person who could stay focused even when distractions surrounded him. That was his real achievement. He discovered that life does not reward the person who wants it the most. It rewards the person who is willing to sacrifice the most. Every difficult decision, every lonely journey, every moment of discipline was a brick that built the foundation of his future. People often search for a shortcut. They want success without struggle, growth without pain, results without sacrifice. But the truth is simple. Anything valuable requires a price. The strongest people are not created by easy lives. They are created by challenges they refuse to surrender to. And now, when others asked him how he became so strong, he didn't talk about talent. He didn't talk about luck. He talked about consistency. Because small actions repeated every day had changed everything. A single choice to improve. A single decision to keep going. A single moment of discipline. Over time, those small moments became a completely different life. He finally understood the secret that most people never discover. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be committed. Because the person who keeps moving forward will eventually pass the person who only waits for the perfect moment. The world may never see your sacrifices. It may never understand your struggles. But one day, your results will speak louder than your explanations ever could. So keep building. Keep learning. Keep improving. Because the future belongs to those who are willing to create themselves. The journey was never about becoming famous. It was never about proving others wrong. The last message. The journey was long. Full of pain. Full of sacrifices. Full of moments where quitting felt easier than continuing. But every challenge had a purpose. Every failure had a lesson. Every difficult moment had created a stronger version of him. He finally understood. A powerful person is not someone who never falls. A powerful person is someone who always rises again. Life will test everyone. It will test your patience, your discipline, your belief. But those who keep moving forward are the ones who create a different future. The man looked back at his old self. The person who was afraid. The person who doubted. The person who waited for the perfect time. And he smiled. Because that person was gone. In his place was someone stronger. Someone focused. Someone who knew his value. He learned that the biggest battle in life is not against others. It is against the weakness inside yourself. Win that battle, and nothing can stop you. So never underestimate small steps. One page read. One habit changed. One promise kept. These small actions create extraordinary lives. The world may not notice your work today, but your future will remember your discipline. Keep going. Keep building. Keep becoming better. Because one day you will look back and realize the hardest days were the days that created the strongest version of you. The story was never about becoming perfect. It was about becoming unstoppable. And that is the true mindset of a warrior. The power of silence. There was a time when he wanted everyone to understand him. He wanted to explain his dreams. He wanted to prove his worth. He wanted people to see the effort behind his journey. But with time, he learned a powerful lesson. Not everyone needs an explanation. Some people will understand your vision. Others will only understand your results. So he stopped talking and started building. Silence became his greatest weapon. While others announced their plans, he worked on them. While others searched for attention, he searched for improvement. While others wasted time comparing lives, he focused on creating his own. He discovered that successful people do not need to constantly announce their next move. Their actions speak louder than words. The world is full of people who promise, but few people who execute. And he decided to become one of the few. Every morning was another opportunity. Every challenge was another chance to grow. Every obstacle was another lesson waiting to be learned. He stopped asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and started asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That change in mindset transformed everything. Because problems are not always meant to destroy you. Sometimes they are designed to prepare you. The pressure created strength. The struggle created wisdom. The loneliness created independence. And slowly, he became someone he could be proud of. Not because he was better than others, but because he was better than yesterday. He finally understood. A quiet person with discipline is more powerful than a loud person with no direction. So he continued walking his path. No distractions. No excuses. No need for approval. Because when you know where you are going, you don't need everyone to walk beside you. Sometimes the lonely road is the road that leads to greatness. And the person who learns to walk alone becomes impossible to stop. The final choice. Every person reaches a moment in life. A moment where they must choose. Stay the same, or become something greater. For him, that moment came many times. Every time he felt tired. Every time he wanted to quit. Every time the easy path looked more attractive. But he made the same decision. He chose growth. He chose discipline. He chose the future version of himself. Because he finally understood. Your life is shaped by the choices you repeat every day. Not by one big decision. Not by one lucky moment. But by thousands of small choices made when nobody is watching. The world only sees the result. They don't see the early mornings. The silent sacrifices. The battles inside the mind. They don't see the moments when he wanted to stop, but continued anyway. That was the difference. He wasn't stronger because life was easier. He was stronger because he refused to let difficulties control him. He learned to control his thoughts, control his emotions, control his actions. And that control became his freedom. People spend years searching for power outside themselves. But true power was always within. The ability to stay calm in chaos. The ability to keep moving in uncertainty. The ability to believe in yourself when nobody else does. That was the mindset he built. A mindset that could not be broken by failure. A mindset that could not be destroyed by criticism. A mindset created through patience and discipline. And now, he no longer feared the future. Because he knew something important. The future is not something you wait for. It is something you create. Every action today becomes a part of tomorrow. Every sacrifice today becomes a reward later. Every difficult choice today becomes strength for the future. So he continued forward. Not looking for shortcuts. Not waiting for approval. Not depending on motivation. Because he had discovered the ultimate truth. Discipline creates the life that dreams can only imagine. And the person who masters himself can master anything life brings. The journey was not finished. It was only beginning. The unbreakable mind. The strongest battles are not fought in the outside world. They are fought inside the mind. And he had learned how to win those battles. There were still difficult days. There were still moments of doubt. There were still times when the path felt uncertain. But he was no longer the same person. Before, a problem could break his focus. A failure could destroy his confidence. A negative word could control his emotions. But now, he had built something stronger. An unbreakable mind. He understood that pain was temporary. Failure was a lesson. And challenges were opportunities to become better. He stopped running away from difficulties. Instead, he faced them. Because every challenge he overcame became proof that he was capable of more. He realized that success is not about avoiding storms. It is about learning how to stand strong during them. Many people quit when progress becomes slow. They stop when results take too long. But he continued. Because he knew that greatness is built through patience. day by day, step by step, decision by decision. The world may never understand the sacrifices you make in silence, but your future self will. One day, you will thank yourself for not giving up, for staying disciplined, for believing when there was no evidence, for continuing when there was no applause. That is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary people. Not talent, not luck, but the ability to keep moving forward. He had finally become the person he once dreamed of becoming. Calm under pressure, focused during chaos, strong in silence, and ready for whatever came next. Because a person who has conquered himself can face any challenge the world brings. The new beginning. The greatest achievement was not becoming successful. It was becoming someone who could handle success. Because many people can rise, but few people can stay strong after reaching the top. He understood that the journey would never truly end. There would always be new challenges, new goals, new battles. But he was ready, because he was no longer searching for strength. He had already built it. The person who once felt lost now had direction. The person who once doubted himself now trusted his own decisions. The person who once waited for a chance now created his own opportunities. He looked back at every struggle with gratitude. The failures that hurt him, the rejection that changed him, the lonely nights that tested him, all of them had a purpose. They were not there to destroy him. They were there to prepare him. He learned that life does not become easier. You become stronger. And that is the real victory. Not proving others wrong. Not showing the world your success. But becoming someone you respect. Someone who keeps promises. Someone who stays disciplined. Someone who continues growing. The world will always change. People will come and go. Situations will rise and fall. But the person you build inside yourself will always stay with you. So he continued walking forward, with a calm mind, a focused heart, and a clear purpose. Because he knew one simple truth. A powerful life is created one choice at a time. The journey that started with pain ended with wisdom. The person who once searched for answers became the answer for himself. And that was his final transformation. Not becoming someone else, but finally becoming himself. The legacy begins. Years ago, he was just another person with a dream. A person nobody noticed. A person who struggled quietly. A person who had no proof that his efforts would ever matter. But he kept going. And that decision changed everything. Because success does not begin when the world believes in you. It begins when you believe in yourself. He discovered that the greatest victories are often invisible. The discipline nobody sees. The sacrifices nobody understands. The work nobody celebrates. Those are the moments that create greatness. He no longer needed to prove his value. His actions had already answered every doubt. The people who once questioned him now respected him. But he never forgot the lessons from his journey. He remembered the importance of patience, the power of consistency, and the strength that comes from refusing to quit. He understood that a true winner is not someone who never faces problems. A true winner is someone who refuses to surrender. Life will always bring challenges. There will always be moments of uncertainty. There will always be reasons to stop. But the person who keeps moving forward creates a path where none existed before. His story became a reminder that ordinary people can create extraordinary lives. Not through luck, not through shortcuts, but through commitment, through discipline, through believing in the process. The journey transformed him. But the greatest reward was not what he gained. It was who he became. A person with courage. A person with purpose. A person who understood his own power. And as he stepped into the future, he carried one final lesson with him. Never wait for the perfect moment. Create the moment. Never wait for someone to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Because the person who controls his mind controls his destiny. And this was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of his legacy.